So
Domingo?
let's yeah, man, that's deep, man. That's deep. It's like, um, let's dive into this. Look, first of all, welcome everybody from all over the world, right? We have some people coming in from New Zealand. We have some Australia. So first welcome everybody. And it's as Bishop gives knowledge that he's been doing, and as we start going through, if you guys type in some questions and make some comments, we'll make sure we address them because we want to use this session to hear from you. Every session to hear from you. We want you active as an active participant. We want to know what your VRAN score is, right? Did I say it right?
Yeah, it's your VRIN score. VRIN, VRIN.
VRIN.
VRIN, VRIN. Correct.
VRIN. Okay, awesome. So we want to hear what they are. So if you are, hey, just want to welcome everybody. If you guys want to really get the most out of it, you got to participate. Now, that's a barrier for a lot of people. I'm going to share that right now. I think I think some people are going to face several barriers throughout this summit. First of all, attending the summit and seeing that it's a priority right now in your life is the first barrier. So for those of you that are watching live and those of you that are part of it right now and or watching the recording, I thank you for taking that first step. But you got to take it a little bit further, right? We're talking, Bishop just dropped some serious knowledge just a minute ago, and you just don't take it and listen to it. You got to apply it. So we want to make sure you take the most out of it. You actually go and sit down and you make notes and you comment in here and you share, what kind of questions you want to hear from the speakers. And if we don't address it, that's okay. We're going to comment. We're going to come back and they're going to double check the comments down below, and we're going to get engaged. But let's get engaged. Your questions right now, your comments, your participation is someone else's answer. So let's really get involved in there and make it happen, right? So we have a question. What would you say is the framework to have massive success in this global economy? Wow, I think that's the that's the major question of why everyone is attending the summit, right? It's very common. I would say, framework. Framework is the big thing, is one, belief, right? We got to get past the negativity things that are going out there. And Bishop, let's go back and forth on this one. So first one for me is belief, right? Gotta have the right mindset. We have an amazing speaker speaking tonight who is going to be covering mindset. He's a mindset engineer, and I definitely really need to tap into that. We have Nick Halick as well. But mindset is one of the first pieces of the framework, because you got to not only just have the right mind, and listen, it takes time, but positive affirmations, waking up every morning and smile. Wake up in the morning and tell, I'm going to do it today, and have that positive and celebrate all your wins. I think that's a big step towards the first part of the framework.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would develop, if you haven't already developed a morning or an evening regimen, a success regimen, I would absolutely do that. Most successful people, they have a routine that they follow every single morning, whether that is they drink a liter of water, they work out, they go through personal development, whatever it is, right? So I would figure out what your regimen is going to be for the morning, because that way you really start off right. So for me personally, I do all of that, right? I drink a liter of water, actually drink half a gallon of water. I work out every morning, so I'm very clear and focused, because the more water you drink, the more focused your mind is. I write down 15 things I'm grateful for every single morning, right? Because what you focus on the longest becomes the strongest. I listen to personal development every single morning, right? Because your outer world is a direct result of your inner world, right? So what happens is, you got to remember the programming. All of us have been programmed since the day we were born. The things we watch on TV, what we heard our parents say, the music that we listen to, the TV that we watch, everything is programming us, right? So some of you have to reprogram your mind. It's just like a computer, right? So for instance, if you say that you want success, right? And you want to be up here and you want to have this much success, but you were programmed to believe that anyone who makes over $100,000 a year is greedy, right? Maybe your parents used to say that or something. Guess what? As soon as you reach that, you're going to self-sabotage yourself and move yourself right back down here, because your mind is the thermostat, right, to your life. Your mind is the thermostat to your life. So you have to reset that thermostat, right? Because again, if I set the thermostat right now for 68 degrees, I like to keep my house cold, 68 degrees, and it goes up higher, guess what? The thermostat's going to kick on and lower the temperature. The same thing with your success. If your success is at, oh, I want to just be have a business here in my local community. I only want to make $100,000 a year, whatever it is, and you go higher than that, bam, that programming that you got is going to kick in, and you're going to self-sabotage yourself to go back down to where you felt comfortable. Okay, so like Domingo is saying, the mindset is so important. I think success is 20%, 80% mindset and 20% skill, strategy, and implementation. Because you can have all the skill in the world. How many of us know very talented people, very smart people, and they're living in their garages, right? Because they don't have the mindset isn't right to propel them to that greatness, right? You could be the best guitar player in the world, right? But if you don't have the mindset and understanding how to take it to the masses, right, it's not going to happen. So mindset is absolutely right, Domingo. I agree with you 100% about that. Okay, it's very, very powerful. And you just wrote the 80-20 rule. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's incredible. And Bishop, I have a friend of mine, right, recently. He's very successful, and I asked him, hey, give me an example of something that can, what people face from a mindset standpoint. And I was chatting with him this morning, and he gave me an example. He said, one day, he wakes up every morning with the mindset of positive and go for it, and he won't take the negative. He'll just run with the positive and run with it. And he told me that one day he woke up and he saw a message on his phone, the first message of the day: all your merchant accounts were canceled. And he's like, crap. He went in immediate bad mode. He said that negativity led him to 3 miserable days, because he started going. It's like nothing went right, and even though there was it's funny, every day he opens a door and there's always a creak. But that day, that creak made him even worse. Like, oh, I can't believe it's there. And you start seeing the bad, and it's really hard to get out of seeing the bad and getting back into the positive. And he realized that he was just snowballing down for 3 days. And then finally he woke up in the morning and said, you know what? Affirmation, get the mind straight, talk to himself, positive. That day he got approved for a new merchant account, and he started making things happen. So he asked himself, what if I would have just looked at that, said, oh, well, let's make it happen, if he would have just not lost out at 3 days with the business. So mindset is a big thing. It's one of those things that can lead you down a rabbit hole and put you into a completely different world that really doesn't exist. And it's really hard to pull out of it. Let's make this real. Let's put this real. Let me put you on the spot. Have you ever, what's an example that you face like that?
Yeah, so there's many as an entrepreneur. So in one of my companies, some of you have heard this story before, I had some people come in, rob us blind, the people that I brought into the business, into my company from a referral from someone else, completely destroyed everything, right? And I had to actually close down the business. So I went from multi-million-dollar business to zero very quickly. And I had to get rid of all the employees, go close down the whole 8th floor, everything, and start from scratch. So here I am, one moment up here, right, doing extremely well, to all of a sudden zero, right? And the funds were going out very quickly. And it was interesting because at that same period, the economies were collapsing, according to the media. And so I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll have to, figure something out. And I started trying different things. And it was weird, Domingo, because everything that I was trying wasn't working. And I was like, what's going on here? I used to have the magic touch for success. Like everything I touched in business was golden. And now nothing was working, right? And on top of that, I even went to try to get a job or two, and nobody would hire me because they're like, wait a minute, you've always owned companies, You have big companies. I won't hire you. And one guy even told me, I won't hire you because you'll probably take my job. That's what he told me. And another guy told me, we won't hire you because you're too entrepreneurial. We know you're not going to stay here. Right. And so I couldn't get a job. Nothing was happening. And so I was like, wow, this is really crazy. And then the funny thing is, I started going through my own teaching for personal development, right? And I started writing down and going through these exercises. And what I realized was that even though I was saying I wanted success again, subconsciously I wasn't, because of the power of association. Because now I was associating money and success with pain. Because not only did these people do all of this stuff, my company had to close down, but also all my friends left. My wife will tell you, she wasn't my wife at the time, she was just my friend, but she'll tell you everyone left. Like immediately, people weren't calling me anymore once the money went dry. So subconsciously, I associated that with pain. So as soon as I started becoming successful again, guess what? I would self-sabotage it. And once I realized that, everything clicked for me again. And I realized, oh, wait a minute, wealth is just creating something of value to serve other people. And I fell in love with my why again, right? We're very big into philanthropy and different things. And so I went out there and you know the story, Domingo. I got some chips and some sodas, and I made sandwiches and salads. And I got a kid's wagon, and I started walking this wagon up and down the street, walking into buildings, office buildings. And I would come up to the receptionist and say, hey, does anyone want to buy some chips and sandwiches and sodas so they don't have to go to lunch? And people would come out and buy them, and it would give me cash every day. And here's the cool thing. This is what actually got me into becoming an internet entrepreneur. So I started using that money to get leads and do different things like that. And what's interesting was I was willing to humble myself, right? Going from multi-million-dollar business to nothing. But I didn't blame anybody else. I said, you know what? I told my brother who was running the company with me, I said, you know what? We could have had better security protocols in place to not let this happen. We could have screened these people better to not let this happen. And I was willing to go out there and do that. And my life completely changed. I called my wife because she had went back to the Philippines. My girlfriend then went back to the Philippines. And I said, I'm back. And she goes, what do you mean? I was like, I know what the problem is. I know my mindset got off and I was associating with it differently. Then I went to the gym, and I love mixed martial arts, and these ladies were watching me, and they go, hey, we love how you're so into mixed martial arts, etc. And they start telling me that they're getting ready for an event coming up at their job. And I said, you know what? I remembered money is just creating value. And I said, you know what? I can actually train you guys and help you guys get ready for your event at work. And they said, okay, how much? And I just threw out a price out there, and bam, they wrote me a check. So already I started generating some income, right? And then I was like, this is powerful. I'm back. I called some people that had multiple medical facilities. And I said, hey, you know what? I can rebrand all your facilities, rebrand your business. How much is one client worth to you? And they told me, and they said, well, how much would all this cost? I told them a certain fee, which was very, very high. It was about $30,000. And then they asked me how much a month, and I told them it was around $5,000 to $6,000 per month. And they said, okay, let's do it. So in less than a month's time, I went from zero to now having $10,000 a month in revenue reoccurring, and had almost $50,000 in our bank account. All over, just because my mindset switched, Domingo. Nothing else changed. The economy didn't change. I didn't move. I didn't get around different people. I just changed my mindset, right? Because where the mind goes, the man goes, right? So I had to get my mind in the right position so I could then follow, right? And hopefully that makes sense. Where the mind goes, the man or the woman goes. And so my life completely changed. So that's my story of getting back into that right mindset and how powerful that can really be.
Man, it's powerful.